no, we're doing like a seasonal thing. So we're doing it. You were here last week when we started. So we're saying like, oh, if you and your partner agree to a match, whatever rule set you want to be like I don't care. But it's like basically if you participate in the match, you'll earn 1 point, and if you submit somebody, you get an extra 3 points. So if we have a match and you submit me, you'll get 4 points, I'll get 1 point, and then at the end of the season, like spring, we'll maybe give out some prizes.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, that's a nice way of getting some honest training out of people.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping to create that culture where people will want to go for like finishes and submissions and like that. Anyways.
Well, at the same time, it's like, not that it's a bad thing, but once you put like points to it, people are like looking for shitty subs. Right? It was me. I'd be wrist locking everybody, grabbing toes.
Alan was talking about wrist locking Josh because Josh caught him in a darce. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, why not? Wrist lock's a submission. It's just the dirtiest
one
out of all.
Why would you avoid 15% of the body?
Yeah.
Hey, funny story about driver's license we were talking about. So my driver's license expired on Sunday, and I just didn't realize until work emailed me, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to get we need an updated version of your temporary license because yours expired on Sunday." I completely forgot, but so I had to.
You don't drive the truck, do you?
I do.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that's the problem, right? So I was like, oh man. So I go back to work on Sunday. So I went this morning early, and it takes like 2 minutes. You walk in, there's no line, and it was good. But I was like, oh man, I'm like, it would be quite embarrassing to show up because I usually drive the engine full time. So if I show up on Sunday. And I'm like, oh, hey, Captain, I can't drive the truck because my license lapsed and I
forgot
about it, which it'd be good, but it'd be a good laugh, but I'd be like, oh man, so, but that's funny that you brought up no driving.
I don't know what the equivalent of latrine duty is for a fireman, but I'm sure.
It is latrine duty. Buy everybody ice cream and scrub the cans. No, sorry we didn't get a match in today.
No, that's all
but
good.
I appreciate you coming in for.
It's fun, man. I mean, not that it's a bad thing, but training with the same guys like Ben, Kenny, and Mickey, not that it gets monotonous, but we kind of know each other, so it's good to see a whole breadth
I
of
think,
new faces.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have very different styles, different body type, different styles, different energy, so I think it's really beneficial. I think it's the same thing here where they're all training with one another and kind of like under my boat of like where I'm steering, so it's nice to get some easy stuff. My fingers hurt even from that, so thanks for nothing. I was like, as soon as I was doing that wheel turn, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah,
I switch it to 3 fingers, and I'm like, oh, now that one's taking it.
It's funny. I've lost all feelings in my fingers. I can attribute this solely to Ben, right? Because during COVID, we bought like those shitty little thin puzzle mats.
Yeah.
And we matted up like my old study.
Yeah.
And he would just go ham on me. Like it's a small
old place, yeah.
It's a small dinky room, but that guy's no chill. He would still put me through the wall. Unless I like told him like, no, I need to sell this place. Do not put a hole through my wall, please. Like, oh, okay. Yeah.
No chill.
It's all my fingers are gone. I have no feelings in my fingers.
It was nice to have Mickey visit the other day. Hopefully he'll come by.
I mean, it's funny. All of them are injured. Every single one of them.
Yeah. Is everybody found a spot? Kind of. Is everybody at advantage?
Most of them are at advantage. Actually, all of them are. Like minus Cathay.
Yeah. I haven't seen Squirrel. It's crazy because like even when we trained the other day, like when I dropped by your house of other, I realized it's been like more than 2 years because I pulled the plug in like February 2020.
Yeah,
and it wasn't until 2022, like, when did it come by? Like March or something? Yeah. So it's 2 years and a bit, which is like crazy.
I mean, that's the way it should be, honestly. Like, no one should have been training, minus like a very small circle that you trust.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you're a certain group of people, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I haven't seen Squirrel. I haven't seen Mike in a while, but hopefully they're doing.
Yeah, they're literally every single one of them are all banged up. Yeah. Mike's banged up. Oh, no. Ben I think he's slowly coming back from an injury. Yeah. Kenny had surgery on his teeth. Mickey.
Yeah, I ran into Kenny that time. I missed it at Lansdowne. So
because he had I believe what it is, he had a dead tooth.
Oh.
And then the dentist like, you finally got to take it out.
It's gross.
Yeah.
God damn it, Kenny.
Yeah, so he's been out. He was out for a while.
Yeah.
Mickey, that was like his first time back in a while because he banged up his knee.
Yeah. Do you think it's just Hey, we have the proudest thing I told you before, 0% injury rate. The other day, Gilbert and Ease were having a match, and they were going kind of hard, and then Gilbert looked, I'm like, hey, did you hurt yourself? He's like, no. I'm like, don't you tarnish my 100%.
Don't you dare get,
my 0% injury
you push him out the door, that's where you get injured.
Yeah. It's like that work safe sign, like X amount of days since last injury.
Injuries are bound to happen. You can't avoid these things,
but,
right?
you know, it'd be good to get your feedback on, like, how you think the programmer. So, like,
nah, man, you guys, their fundamentals are so good. That's the one thing I always kind of skip over. Like, guard retention, that's not sexy.
Oh, it's not sexy. It's the most... Oh.
It's the most boring and monotonous thing, but like it's the most important thing. Yes, but like, man, those sexy back takes, man, that's what make highlight reels.
Yeah, I've been, like I said, so we focused first on like pins, like pin escapes.
Yeah.
Because I figured that's where we'll find people. That's where you suck, so that's where you're going to start.
Yeah.
So we did pin escapes, we did back escapes, and then it just seemed, I decided to do back control and top control just so they would get
the flip side.
Yeah, and so it would make their pin escapes better, because if they know how to control on the top,
you know what to do to
then
get.
Then you're gonna get
no,
like
100%. Like if you watch a tournament, like you watch a bunch of white belts fight, they can do fine in the guard passing, they can do fine in the guard play. But once they get pinned, they're like, ugh. It's like watching like a cockroach try to scurry out of being pinned or something, right? So a lot of gyms, a lot of programs don't do their white belts a favor by glancing over it.
But I get it. Like, I think pin escapes and guard retention are probably top two. But realistically, it's like the cucumber sandwiches of jiu-jitsu, right? It's not very...
But the nice thing is, like, this isn't a jiu-jitsu school per se.
Yeah.
You've got a bunch of passionate people
Yeah.
who want to be here. So you can teach them wherever. You can do arm bars for like half a year.
Yeah.
They'll still love it because they want to be here versus like, ooh, I signed up, I'm paying $100 odd bucks a month. I better come here, right? And as an owner, as a teacher, like, man, I better show something that like piques their interest all the time, right? For you, like, I know, you know they want to be here. So pin escapes, right? Guard retention, and they'll love it.
So not sexy.
It's not sexy, but it's super important.
Yeah,
right? It's super important, right? Sexy stuff come down the road, right? I would rather have my fundamentals down pat and not be able to do any of that sexy stuff than embarrass myself at like an open mat. Like, wow, that white belt is just like pinning that black belt, no problem, right?
It's true. It's a real thing.
It is a real thing. I mean, you've seen it a bunch of times, right? Like, yeah, that guy can bolo, but he can't get out of that side control. Like, ooh, that's a big red flag.
Do you think it's part of it as a more experienced belt? Like, I don't get put on the bottom. I don't get my back taken very often unless I
choose to.
Yeah. So do you think it's like maybe some of the, I mean, there are scenarios where open mat, like a really like high, like senior guy gets somebody on their back and they can't escape. Do you think it's just because you're good enough so you never go there?
I think it's kind of pattern recognition. Really, that, for me, it's pattern recognition. Like, once I see someone engage in something, like, I know what their sequence is going to be. Right? Yeah. Unless, like you said, it's like a really high level, like, world champion, and he just, like, pulls something out of his ass, like, I've never seen before. Right? Like, you've rolled with world class people, I've rolled with them as well. Like, it's so different than rolling with, like, an Evan.
Yeah.
Right? Sure. Like, there's skill and then there's skill.
Yeah,
like, holy smokes.
There's black belts.
Yeah.
There's black belts.
Right? Like, a lot of jiu-jitsu is just pattern recognition. That's what I find.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? But with high level guys, like, you see the pattern, but somehow they are able to, like, do it so quickly or just change it ever so different, or you just can't defend it.
Yeah.
Right? If you think about it, someone like a Kyle Terra, right? He's probably like your size.
Right? I think he's actually quite tall. We went to that seminar with him at Gravity.
But you know what I mean? He's like a dinky little guy, but like he's trouncing all these big guys.
Yeah, he's definitely super technical. I just remember him being taller than I expected.
Yeah, he's much taller.
For 57 kilos. That's, I mean, even I walk around at like 60, anywhere between 60 and 62 kilos. So I've got like, close to almost 10 pounds on, well, I don't know what he walks around at regularly. Yeah, but he's quite tall.
Like when you saw him like move on the mat, it was so fluid. There's like zero hesitation, like right? Yeah. Everything was with his intention. Like, wow, I wish I could do that. Sometimes when I do a move, like I gotta pause. I'm like, what do I do again? Oh yeah, this arm. Oh yeah, this leg.
I enjoyed his sense of humor though, because I remember, I don't know if you recall, but he said like, somebody asked a question like, he's showing like a attacking the turtle.
Yeah, I
with
remember.
Like
yeah.
a knee.
Yeah.
And then somebody in the seminar raised the question of, oh, what do you do if he's really stubborn? And then he's like, well, something along the lines of, if he's super stubborn, you stop attacking. You do something else. And then he followed it up with saying, but here's the answer you want. And he's like, you would do this to like be, but I think it says a lot about his kind of style where it's
right?
like, if it's like, you can keep banging your head against a cement wall and eventually you'll go through, but the success is there, but at what cost? I remember him saying like, just do something else.
Yeah, and
right?
that's my problem. Like sometimes I get like so tunnel vision, like I want your arm. Like no matter what, I'll grab onto your arm and I'll keep like trying to pry it out when realistically I should be moving on.
I get that sometimes if I want to work something, like let's say I want to work back attacks and then I'm on somebody's back during an open roll or something well, not so much here, but if I visit, and then I want to work it, not so much. But it's like, I think that's why you need like more targeted training, like specifically
I was gonna say, like,
training.
I think like open mats and that type of rolling is actually the worst to try something new, right? Because
is.
then you're always like trying to like funnel everything towards that one move.
I think better communication, if you find a training partner who says like, hey, are you willing to do back attacks with me for 5-10 minutes or whatever, then it's okay. But I think if you just, but it's also a good litmus test, because if you can keep it there and work on what you want.
Depends again, right? Like if you're just starting out darce attacks and you just go to an open, but I'm gonna darce everywhere.
Oh, you just darce all the white belts, right?
You darce, but that realistically, that's the way it should be, right? Like even as a black belt, you work your way up. I'm not gonna go out to Evan and try to darce that Yahoo. He's probably gonna make me look like a fool, right?
I totally agree, but I still try.
Oh, I still try. 100%.
Like I've been working like lapel
Think about it, that 0.01%. If you're able to land on him, think about that ego boost.
Yeah, I guess.
But no, you're like you should start on white belts, right? You beat up the white belts with that move, then you move on to the blues, then you purples, then you browns, and then you try on another black belt.
Kind of like how if you're learning a new technique, it's you might be a black belt, but if you start like, what do you not do? You don't actually you do everything. You don't do nogi.
Yeah.
There you go. So if you started nogi and you're up against like a very confident, like you can't expect to be like your technique is, even though you are a black belt overall, that particular technique.
No, that's not my niche.
Pattern
It's not my niche.
Like it's a white belt technique.
Absolutely.
For you, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Nogi's terrible.
I'll still try.
I'll still try for fun.
But I don't even know why I try, because even if I try and I'm successful, it's not repeatable, because it'll be. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, as long as we're world competitors, like. Why do we even learn a technique we're not going to try for fun, right? Like
for the gram.
Yeah, for the gram, right?
For the Instagram.
For me, it's the ego boost. I can say I darce this black belt.
So certain techniques feel. I will say certain techniques feel cool to do. I think anything
100%.
Like maybe it's just anything inverted where you flow through like an Iminari roll or like.
Of course.
Although I don't know how to do a proper bamboo, it feels cool when you. Like
it feels cool, looks cool, you get the best reactions, right? Yeah. Someone's like, ooh, look at that Baron bowl, it's so cool. Like, yeah, I hit that bowl. But for the life of me, I can't do a bowl in a real life match, a real life roll. I just invert and someone mounts me right away.
Get smushed. How's the training been? Are you back pretty consistent?
I probably train as much as you do, to be honest. Like, I just train with the people I want to. Mm-hmm. Right? I kind of like not going to this gym, like a school anymore.
It is nice, right?
Yeah, like I choose the people I want to train with because I trust them. Mm-hmm. At the same time, not that I don't like teaching, like I don't have to like put on my teacher's hat and pause my role to like, so this is what you should be doing, right? You should be doing this, this, and this, unless of this, right? When I am rolling with you guys, when I'm rolling with Kenny and them, like I can just be like another guy who just wants to train. Yeah. Right.
It's difficult for me to gauge like even the last time we rode, because like you're always very competent and very game, but it's I'd be interested to see your thoughts on, since we've both taken a step back from coaching like as a responsibility, and you can focus more on yourself and doing again the things you want to do. Again, you're always good, but do you feel like you've made was it a benefit for you to kind of step back and just
100%? Oh, 100%. I think the biggest detriment for me when I was teaching, like I would always have to like train at half pace. Right. Like if I train with like a student, You teach a class, you get to the end of class and you start training with them. Like, for me, I felt like kind of a jerk if I trained at my competency level, like versus like a white belt, right?
Sure.
Versus like a blue belt. Purple and up, like, yeah, I can start turning it up, right? Brown and like black, our levels, like I can roll like as I would normally.
Yeah.
Right? But all the lower levels, like it felt like I would be training with like my left hand, like one hand and one leg, and I would like have to like wait for them to do something, let them do it, then I would react. Like, but when me and you roll, it's just like boom, 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 right? It's a flow, right?
Do you think you'd want to go back?
Oh, I love teaching. Don't get me wrong. Like, I just love seeing people progress in jiu-jitsu and develop that passion. But at the same time, I love being able to train, right? I don't have to be that teacher who has to like hold hands. Like, again, don't get me wrong. I love holding that hands, but I also want to train hard sometimes. Right? And during COVID, especially just training exclusively with Ben, like, we would just scrap.
Yeah.
Right? We would drill for like 30 minutes and then we would fight for an hour. Like, my fingers would be all gone, but I loved it. Right? And I would say that was like my, Dragon Ball time chamber. Right?
Okay.
Like, cause we just like purely focused on like one thing, our own things, and then we just fought. Like 7-minute rounds, 30-second rest, and boom, 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 boom. Right? We didn't have to hold each other's hands unless like he literally like broke my hand one time, right? And then we would have to pause. But literally, it was just like fight, 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 get feedback, fight, 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 fight. Right? And I love that. I don't think I would be able to do that if I were still teaching.
Yeah. I mean, both of us put a considerable amount of hours and time into the club, and I feel like, although, like, I think we agree that teaching will make you a better jiu-jitsu practitioner, but I've always had the feeling that, like, if I focus on coaching too much, like, my own jiu-jitsu suffers. I don't know if it's true or not. I mean,
oh, absolutely, right? Because you're so focused on, like, not searching out techniques, but for me, like, I'm always watching like what the new stuff is.
Yeah, you're very good for that. You're always on the meta.
Yeah, there's always you know this as well, but every year there's like a new meta, right? When I first started, deep half was a new meta. Then it was the X guard. Then it was the bolo, and then blah blah blah. And you got to
footlocks.
And then footlocks, right? You got to stay like current with everything.
Yeah.
You can for sure stick with the classics, right? But especially when you get higher level, you want to grow your repertoire. Right? When you're a white belt, everything's new to you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But when you're a black belt, you've seen everything, unless you like seek out these like new fancy techniques that are applicable in a competition scene, right? There's a lot, you've seen them, like all these crazy moves that, like, ooh, if you just do this and this, it's gonna work. Like, no, it's just a BS technique that you're just doing for the gram, right? I look at like, is it repeatable in a world competition like the Pans, the Worlds? Like, are multiple people doing it? Like, how are they doing it? Right? And then like, is there a YouTube video for it? Or do I have to like watch a bunch of competition footage to see how it's done, right? And I'll just kind of like reverse engineer it. Right?
That's something that I commend you on, because I don't watch enough.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I hate watching competition.
Some people can do it. Like, I don't really watch comp stuff, but I remember even like, I always like, you're one of my go-to reasons. Like, hey, what's like this? And then you always have a good resource on who's doing what and what the meta is, which is good for you. Do you have any recommendation? Like, if you needed to watch stuff like brutally, so what do you like? Do you watch like just on YouTube? Is it like Flow Grappling? Like, what should
Flow Grappling is garbage. It's such a money grab.
Or like where should people be watching? Like, obviously, I don't really think there's much of a point in watching anything below black belt, to be honest, because. Like, why would you watch
There's always the exception.
Sure.
There's always the exception, but I agree. You kind of want to watch your browns and your blacks. But it kind of depends. What are you looking for? Like, are you looking for like a specific technique? Are you looking for like an idea? Right? Like, if you're looking for someone like with a phenomenal spider guard, right? Then you just gotta like kind of figure out like who in the world scene like has a very good spider guard. Right? It's your Homolos for your old school stuff, your Philippe Andrews for your current stuff. Like for our weight class, right? Smaller guys like a Shane Jamil, the Team Lloyd Irvin guy. Right?
So still around?
He's still around, yeah. They're still around, surprisingly. Wow. Stuff like that. And then, like I said, I absolutely hate watching comp. It's so boring, right? Rolling is one thing, but when you watch a footage of a roll that isn't yourself or of a friend, it's just so mind-numbingly boring. Like I usually watch it on double speed, and I'm always seeking out that one part where's the technique. Like I found it, and I'll just like play it like at half speed,
that's a good
75
double
speed.
I never even thought of that because I'm a pleb.
Yeah, but even at that, like, it's just so boring. Like,
do you find, so I think one thing that I do watch, and I'm sure you do as well, but I watch instructionals.
Yeah.
Do you think that has
that
same
depends.
value, better value, less value?
Like, there are good instructionals and there are shitty instructionals.
Yeah,
right?
like everything.
Like BJJ Fanatics is guilty of this. Like some of their stuff is like night and day. Like you'll have like a Danaher stuff.
You mean like quality control, like some of
quality
that stuff is really good,
and the stuff
really
they
bad.
teach, right? Like a Danaher, like how many like lessons are in there? Like a gajillion in one DVD.
Yeah, I think most of them, I've seen a few of them, and they're all 8 volumes.
Right.
And each volume is at least an hour. I mean, for the value, it's like, I think it's like $200, $300.
Right.
But anyways, but like you're getting good volume and quality.
And then you get like another, I wouldn't say like a world class, but like a top athlete who does a BJJ Fanatics is like 8 moves. And they're all like stuff you can find on YouTube, but BJJ Fanatics is charging like $100-something bucks.
Right.
With like shitty like potato quality, probably filmed on a cell phone.
Okay,
right? I think like, and I praise him to like no end, like a John Thomas, man.
Yeah.
This guy's putting up phenomenal content for free.
Yeah.
Right?
And you can find most of his stuff on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Right?
Yeah. Right? And it doesn't have to be paid. It doesn't have to be like an intricate system. It just has to be explained well. And he explains everything so well. Right? And that's why I kind of steer away from all these like paid instructionals now. It's just like so much filler.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like a good one's like anything with Mikey Musumeci.
Oh yeah.
Right? I watch his footlock stuff and he is very like, he talks quite a bit, but like he's very like on point. It's all footlock stuff.
Yeah.
Always footlock and how it relates to one thing and another. Right? I just hate people who just like dive into a technique and then the next technique and then the next technique. Like how does everything connect? Right? Everything should connect in some form or fashion. Right? But
like have like a system.
Yeah, a system where like if you do A, but they defend it should go to B, and if they defend B, it should go to C. Not like, oh, here's an armbar, oh, here's a triangle, oh, here's a sweep. Right? Like
that's another thing that I credit you for your style. Like you teach more flow than I do, in the sense like I remember you would like even today you showed like this sweep, the setup, and you go to this is your A option, and then there's a B option. Which is like kick Eves in the guts.
Yeah.
Which is probably should be your go-to option every time. But I really appreciate, because I think to be competent, like you like a white belt, you can just spam the A button all the time.
Oh yeah.
But as a more senior white belt or a blue belt, you should spam your A and your B, your A and B, like combo, right?
And that's what kind of I hate as like a white belt. Like I remember back when I was a white belt, like they taught a move, and then they would say, "But this is the counter." And then they wouldn't teach you the counter to the counter. I'm like, okay, so what? Do I kind of like let them have it when they counter me? Like, so all they're gonna do is just do this and I just quit? Like, is that it? And it just kind of annoyed me to no end.
Yeah.
And I kind of get it because it was only like an hour class, so they can only teach so much. But like, at least give me like a taste of what the counter to the counter is. Or don't tease me with what the counter is.
Yeah, I mean, here at our little club, I usually only teach one like technique, but I try to keep it like conceptual, so that like if I show a mount escape, this is like one variant. This is like a bump escape or whatever. But I try to make sure that people understand it's not like put your hand here, do this. It's like
for sure
you need to block this. So hopefully, if they're like, well, what if they push my, what if they counter it with this?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the membership will be quick enough to be like, well,
like that's the type of student you want. You don't want students who can like regurgitate a move, right? You want students who can put theory to reality, right? Like you said, like you doesn't matter how you block an arm for an upa, right? Like you just remember, you just got to trap something so they can't post, and you bump them, right? You accomplish it however you want, but like that's the idea, right? You don't want someone to just repeat what you do. You want them to understand the theory behind it.
And the pattern recognition.
Exactly, right? That's how you become a good jiu-jitsu guy. Not like, ooh, arm bars, just like you just swivel a bunch of times. Like, why does an arm bar work? Right? How do you enter arm bar? Right? How does a triangle work? How do you catch triangles?
Yeah.
Right? I can tell you, like, yeah, just throw your crotch at the guy a bunch of times for a triangle, right?
That's like a Friday night.
Yeah, that's my Monday morning for me. But you know what I mean, right? Like, you got to see these signals. Like, oh, one arm in, one arm out. Like, yep, time to throw my crotch at the guy, right? And that's how you catch a triangle, right? As stupid as it sounds, right? I always make these stupid jokes, but for me, it's like, if I make these stupid jokes, you remember, because it's so stupid, right? I like to be a little bit different in the sense, like, oh, if you just throw your hip up, I'm like, no, throw your crotch at the guy. And then you'll remember, it's just so odd when you're rolling.
Or head Wong,
yeah,
the
right?
house of other.
But that, you just want to be a little bit quirky, just enough so people remember.
Memorable,
yeah.
That's definitely it. So they can make like a better, there's a term for it, I can't remember. Yeah. Anyways, do you think, like, what do you think is a good breakdown of training, like your time spent? So, for me, I think about like 2 to 3 days a week is pretty good to make progress. I think you can maintain progress at 2 training sessions a week. Even one you'll hold, but in that in those like sessions.
Personally, for me, it doesn't matter like how many weeks or how many days a week you train. It's how you train within that one day.
Yeah. So in those sessions, like what do you think the breakdown of it should be?
So it depends. Are you saying like someone who's like brand new, still learning techniques?
If they were starting, because most of our club membership is newer.
Yep. So I would assume like, let's just assume a class is hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say like half an hour to learn something, right? You show them something new, maybe 15 minutes. And within that half hour, you're like drilling like 2 for 2, 5 for 5, 2 minutes, whatever. Right. And then I put big emphasis on like specific training.
Yeah, like positional stuff.
Not even like, so you just taught spider guard, right? So now we're going to specific train the shit out of spider guard.
Okay.
Right? So, and I work at piecemeal. So let's say we did a spider guard that led to a triangle.
Okay.
Right? I will start from the end and move backwards. So we start at the triangle. Right? You should be able to like triangle a dude, because you're already in that triangle, right? You should be able to finish, right? Then you take a step back, right? Maybe it's like, you've got that one arm out, one arm in, and you need to launch your crotch at the guy. Then you gotta lock the triangle and finish, right? Then you gotta take another step back. Now you're in full spider guard, and then you gotta go through the whole repertoire.
Well, that's an interesting approach. Right? So like a start at the end and go back, work it.
Correct, because my idea is like, if you can't finish a triangle, what's the point of you starting from the beginning?
That's true.
Right?
It seems to be like most, again, referencing instructionals, like if you watch most triangle instructionals, the first portion of it is, a little bit of theory, like this is how the triangle works. And then they'll say like, it's entries, right?
Yeah. Right? Well, instructional is a little bit different because there's a bit of an assumption that you know how to do it. Right? But for my class, like you start at the end and you move backwards. Let's say we're doing that tilt sweep, that first sweep we did today, right? Yeah. Like I would start like with he's fully extended and like his hands are like partially tucked behind him, right? Yeah. And on like 1, 2, 3, go, like I should be able to hit that like 10 out of 10.
Okay, so just the finishing mechanics, so that when they arrive there, even if by happenstance, they'll find some success. Right? That makes sense.
And then you take a step back, right? Like maybe I'm in that belly heave with 2 sleeves and my foot's on his thigh. Now I gotta extend them and then hit it, right? And then keep moving backwards.
So would you call that like specific drilling?
I would call it, for me, that's specific drilling.
Yeah. So let's say if you were to break it into, like skill acquisition, like learning a technique with like minimal resistance, like what you show it.
I don't like minimal resistance.
Right.
Because that's not realistic look.
Sure.
Right? If you give me minimal resistance, I could like wrist lock you, foot lock you, do whatever I want to you. That's not realistic. You always have to have resistance. Like it doesn't have to be like balls to the wall resistance, but it's got to be realistic because you got to test your skills, right? So for you to be a dummy, like there's no benefit of you not resisting. I might as well just buy one of those jiu-jitsu dummies and just practice on that. Dummy, right? I need that haptic feedback. Right? I need to see what you'll do, how you're gonna defend the way I do it, and I need to figure out how do I counter that? How to counter your counter? Right? Okay. Be it me being smart enough to figure it out myself, or asking my coach, or asking, hey, like when you did this, what do you feel like I should do to overcome that? Right? But if you're like just a dead fish, like of course it's gonna work, right? Because there's no resistance.
Right.
Right.
So enough so that they can, so enough resistance to positively like reinforce the movement pattern, like cause I mean, obviously if you're trying to do like, anything and the guy's just very rigid or very, not compromising, it's going to be tough, right?
Of course,
so
yeah.
I guess
like
it's fine.
you need your partner needs to like buy in as well. Like if you're playing close guard and the drill is triangles, like all I gotta do is like just show up.
Sure.
Right? And do nothing. You're not gonna get a triangle, right?
Yeah.
But he's got to play the game with you.
Right. Okay.
Right?
How much I know you and your hooligans love sparring. So what we did here, and it'd be great to get your thoughts. So in the beginning, because it's mostly beginners, we would do 30 minutes of what I guess is like skill acquisition. So like drill it, not even for rep count, because you just want to, for feel. So I'd have them do 30 minutes of like a mount escape until they feel like, and it's like you just go with the partner, you feel it until you feel good and take a break. And so 30 minutes. And then the next 30 minutes we would do like positionally spar the mount. Like, okay, we do like a constraint where the person on the top or in the mount or whatever, they have a handicap, like they can't grab or they can't cross face or they can't chest pressure. So the person on the bottom will escape. So they have like, eventually they will, unless like, there's like a huge skill disparity. So that's what we're doing, like half-half. We've only recently started incorporating some more sparring rounds. Sparring's fun, and I know you guys do a lot of it.
Actually, no, we don't.
No, not anymore?
No. Sparring is fun, like you said. That's a treat.
Right.
Like all your hard work is done in specific drilling.
Right, okay.
Right? Yeah, like if it's an off day, we don't want to learn anything, yeah, let's just scrap. But if it's a lesson, like it will be a lesson like yours, like half an hour, 45 minutes, and then majority of it is specific drilling, right?
Okay.
Basically, like sparring is just like going to an open mat, right? That's for fun, right?
Okay.
But if you're here to learn, like there is a method to the madness,
Yeah.
right? And specific drilling is how you kind of hammer it home, right? You can, like I told you, like me and you can have an idea of like, okay, we want to practice our darces and we go to an open mat, but everyone tucks their arm behind their back, right? Like, oh man, like I'm gonna darce you, right? Like that's not how you kind of develop the technique, right? You got a specific drill it with resistance, right? Start from the end, move backwards, right? See what counters come up, like see what works for your body type, right? Because my arms are longer than yours, right? Like I'm taller than you, you're shorter. Like how does it work for me and you, right?
I like your idea of starting from the end.
Yeah. If, like again, like if you can't do a triangle, like why even do the entry?
Right.
Right. Not to say like you're an idiot, but like it doesn't make sense. If you can't finish, why even begin?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think is a good way to encourage, like one of the things I think is, I'd like to encourage the membership to like go for finishes. So maybe I've done them a disservice by training them to be very defensive.
Yeah.
My intention was that if you have really good defense, you should be more like cowboy with your, like you should go for the finish more because you know you have.
I disagree with that because especially when you first start, everything's scary.
Okay.
Right? Like I remember like, yeah, I could be super defensive, but like I would be scared to like undo my show, like grab something.
That's why that's why I figured if I gave them really good defensive tactics, like lots of pins and escapes, eventually it would, transition into.
But that's only like the tip of the iceberg, right? Like, so yeah, you can escape a pin and whatever, but like, what about the guard retention? What if like, someone like jumps to your back all of a sudden? Like that stuff, it's tip of the iceberg. If you want someone to go for finishes more, just practice subs, really. There's no other way. For me and you, like, it's hard when you're all on par with level.
Yeah.
Right? There's really no other way than like, okay, today we're going to learn arm bar, and you just kind of like hammer arm bars. But when you're a higher level, right, I would say even like just beyond a white belt, even a 4-stripe white belt, it's unfortunately for the newer guys, they're just going to get shit on, right? You just beat on the newer guys. And really, that's what it is, right? So I say this with experience in like training guys for a competition, right? So the way I would do it, I would like partner a higher level competitor with a lower level competitor with the expectation of the higher level like subbing the shit out of the lower one, because that's how you teach them to go for the kill. Right? It's not like it's a little roll like, ooh, I dance around the back, take their back and wait. Like no, you should be like catching that arm all the time, catching that neck all the time. Vice versa, that lower belt should be like defending.
Right.
all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Unfortunately for that lower belt, if they're like brand new, you just gotta scrap with like someone the same level and you just kind of butt heads.
Yeah.
Right? But that's how it should be. Like a higher level shits on the lower belt. The lower belt defends for the higher belt. And the lower, it's just like a hobo fight. Like, yeah, here's a bunch of change and I'll fight. Right? But if you want to learn how to go for the kill, like you just gotta practice subs.
Yeah.
Right? And you gotta just teach them the signals. Right?
Do you think it's like a skill, like, so you're saying you think if they have very confident in their submissions, they'll go for more subs? Like, is that like, because if you practice it, like, let's say I know I can get, if I can get to the back, I can strangle you. Or if I know I get to the triangle.
It's a confidence and a feel.
Okay.
Right? Like, we're all human. We don't want to hurt each other. Right?
Yeah.
But
well,
like,
some of us.
no, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, you don't, like, when someone extends their arm in the street, you don't think, oh yeah, flying arm bar. You gotta, as anything is a skill, that killer instinct, right? So you gotta like just keep up that skill. Like once you see like a neck, your chin is up, like slap that rear naked, that arm is extended, slap the arm bar. You see that crook elbow, like grab that Kimura, and you, maybe rip it is a bad term, but like go for it with full intention, right? You go like 90% of the way, and maybe you stop.
It is interesting because I like that, like, we have these differences, because for me, I am more encouraged to like take risks. Well, I guess like maybe it's just my personality. It like if I have really good guard retention or really good back control, right? Like I think my back control is okay. So if I have really good back control and I know, like, I'll be more willing to take risks to go for submissions, or if I have really good guard retention, I'll shoot off more attacks because I know, well, even if my attack like flops, I'll be safe. But it's interesting that you say, I get what you mean, because if you have like just a very high level attack, you're going to go for it all the time because you know it's really, really good. So confidence in your offense can promote, going for the finish. And for me, it's like, I feel like confidence in my defense is what promotes me to go for the finish.
Yeah, I mean, my confidence in any attack I do is my confidence in like maintaining a position, if that kind of makes sense. Like,
sure, yeah.
If it's like a spider lasso, I know I can hold on to it like,
yeah,
for forever, not forever, but for quite a while, because I know how to maintain it properly, blah, blah, blah. And I know that's going to frustrate someone for them to like mess up, right? And this comes with like aggression, right? Not in a bad sense, but once I see him like do something that throws himself out of alignment, like I snap on them so quick.
Yeah,
there's no thought for me anymore.
Sure.
Right? The instant I see that opening, I go hard, right? Because if you think about what's a sub, like I'm here to hurt you, unfortunately.
Sure.
Right? But not that I want to, but like that's what a submission is, right? Like you're gonna hurt a guy a little bit, and there's no hesitation. Before there would be like, ooh, I don't want to like hurt John. Like, well, he gave me the opening, time to get it.
I think you also have to trust. You're a black belt, so I think you have to trust in your ability and control not to hurt someone, and you have to trust that your partner is
not spazzy.
I think that's one thing about the club here. Like we're big on like no one wants to get hurt, because I think we can agree that the best way to train, like one of the priorities is safety, because nothing hamstrings your progress more than getting hurt. Than not training, right?
Of course, right? If you hurt your partner, right, who are you going to train with?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit different because we'll call this a club versus a school, right?
Yeah.
School, you have such a wide breadth of people, and like you got your spazzy white belts, even your spazzy like colored belts. But here you kind of like, you're able to mold each person.
It's also by invitation only, right?
Yeah.
Which is really nice. I don't know. Maybe it's.
I mean, not to make it sound like some exclusive club that like no one can join, but like you're a bit more careful, right? Even if you invite someone who is a bit spazzy, you can like pull them aside, like, hey man, you got to relax.
Yeah.
Right. You can't be like spazzing all the time. If they do, then you just beat the crap out of them, right? You just tell everyone like, okay, go buck wild on this guy and teach him a lesson. Really, that's the type of reinforcement. Like, if you want to be part of our group, like we got to take care of each other. If you want to be that goon, like you're gonna get gooned on. Right?
Yeah, it's so here the way it's kind of by referral only. So we had, everybody knows somebody, and the process works. It's like if I wanted to invite, well, I mean, it's different with you because people know you, but if I wanted to invite somebody to join the club, you have to talk to the club, be like, hey, I have, Joe Blow who wants to come train, and then Joe Blow would come in on a day that I'm here as well, and then I'm kind of like responsible for him, and then it's kind of like a club vote at the end, like, hey, was this guy okay? Was he not? And I think it's very diplomatic, like it's very honest. Like
no, that's a very good way to do it.
If anybody feels
really,
unsafe,
I haven't trained with anyone new with my group guys. It's just always just us.
Yeah.
Really, because I don't know. Not to say like we're more like heads down, get to work. We just, if you want to come, just come.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But like, we don't really invite anyone because we're just too lazy.
That's true.
That's all it really is. We're just it's out of pure laziness.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that we don't want anyone new to come. It's just we're just too damn lazy to invite.
Ours is that's why I think with the group, like anybody in the group is welcome to invite anybody as long as like they've been vetted themselves or whatever. And it's kind of like you just have to take responsibility.
And
I
do
trust the members
think
too,
like
right?
these spazzy people, they're far and few between. To be honest, I think they are.
We've been training for over a decade, so I can think of a lot of people who have maybe less self-control than others.
But think about how many people that do have
self-control. There's more.
They're more like in the background because that's the norm, right? Of course, you're
good.
going to focus on these spazzy fools because like they're the ones like flailing around and like hurting everybody. But I think like a good 90% of the people they're normal.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you think for someone starting out, you'd go gi or no gi? I know you hate no gi.
I'm biased. Of course, it's going to be gi.
But like, there must be like benefits.
I think gi is a lot more slower.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. No gi. I think if you're more athletically inclined, you'll do better in that.
Yeah.
But gi, you have to. Not to say the technique's harder, but like.
Do you think it's still like important to do both?
Oh, 100%. Oh, for sure.
Because there's been like popular like submission grappling is like the new hot in jiu-jitsu.
So like you were asking like how do I get the guys to sub hunt or hunt for subs a lot more?
Yeah.
No-gi, man.
Oh.
If you think about no-gi, like sweeping isn't really a thing, right? You do a lot of wrestling.
Yeah.
Right? But what does it usually lead to? Like it leads to like subs.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Gi is a lot of just like latching on and holding on for dear life type of thing. Right? Mm-hmm. But I think no-gi is more, if you want to tighten up your sub, no-gi. Yeah. But I just fucking hate it.
Why?
It's just so much athleticism.
So good.
Whatever. You buy new washing machines. This is
I can't afford that. New washing machine.
Just get one of those old like boards in a bucket and just like get Jen out there.
I like the accessibility of it.
It is, yes. Don't get me wrong. It's just
because if you want somebody to like come in for like a t-shirt and shorts or whatever.
Exactly. Anyone can do it. You can even just come in your boxers and like be shirtless. But you know what I mean? Like or you could just be like in shorts and that's all you need. With gi, you need like a full-on gi.
I do think there's like I've been playing a lot of lapel stuff lately. Like I do think there's like very unique, interesting mechanics there because you have this like your uniform or the gi becomes like an extra appendage for you to manipulate. Like even like gi Bravos and stuff like that. Like I was doing some of that with Eves today. Like it's a cool mechanic. It's
it adds a new dimension.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I think I like that aspect of it. I like the lapel stuff. It seems fun. Not just the worm stuff, but even like just using the gi in interesting ways. So Corey was coming to train and he'd be like, doesn't want to wash it or dry his pants, so he'd just be wearing a gi top with shorts, so he's been like samboing it, which is like surprisingly it's actually kind of fun because you get the pants don't really do too much.
No, really not.
It gives you something to grab, but I feel like the gi top, but it's been interesting. He's just been samboing up.
A little weirdo kid.
Yeah. Well, he's vegan, so you know.
Is he full vegan now?
He's been vegan for a while.
Oh
so
my god.
We rip on him pretty good.
That's hippie.
Yeah, we had our in-house event and we ordered sandwiches and food from Costco.
And he couldn't eat it.
Yeah, but I thought there'd be like a fruit platter or a vegetable platter. They had nothing. So I just bought a big bag of chips.
And you couldn't eat that? Oh,
yeah. So Corey was drinking
redundant bacon fat. I can't eat it.
Bubbly and eating chips, which is probably not outside.
Oh my god, that is hilarious. Of course he would be vegan, eating or drinking bubbly and chips.
Drinking bubbly, eating chips. Yeah, man. Do you think... I lost my train of thought there for a second. Do you think you're gonna try to set something up at your house of other, like club style or?
I think it's just more like, hey guys, let's go train, type of thing.
You gotta seal up those walls, man. Well, summer's coming.
That's the benefit. Summer's coming,
Yeah.
but my contractor is like coming with ideas. But our main thing is
that's a weird design, eh?
It's super weird.
There's 2 garage doors, front and back, and then
don't tell him. But it's so weird, right?
Yeah,
like
it is a little odd.
But I mean, there's a very like crappy way of doing it, right? You could just like get like an awning that closes on it.
Oh, yeah.
And do that. But like, of course, the wife wants something that looks nice. And
It wouldn't. Yeah, it's an interesting design. I don't think I've seen that kind of
Neither
like
have I.
style anywhere else. It's
and
like
just like you saw like the layout of it,
yeah,
right? It's weird.
It's a little strange. Well, I mean, there's probably a reason. Like whoever designed
like
it.
you know, like that chunk sticking out. That's
Yeah.
basically the kitchen.
Oh.
Of the, right?
Yeah, that is. You're right, because that enters into
Yeah.
the kitchen, right? Yeah.
But I don't know. It's enough space, really.
Yeah.
Right? When you mat it up,
you have lots of space.
You
and,
can fit like
the puzzle mats
8
are
to
good.
10 people.
Yeah.
Right. So
I don't know if you'd want 8 to 10 people in there.
I don't think I would get
Your
to 8 to
neighbors would be like, "What's going on over there?" The
Ooh,
fungin.
what are these people
House of
touching each
Jiu-Jitsu
other?
and other. Yeah. No, that's good. How much longer do you think, or how much more work do you have to do at your place?
So my contractor finished up the internal work in our house 2 weeks ago, but he had to go to his friend's place and work there because his pipe burst.
Oh, no.
There was a bunch of water damage, and he's like, "I'll be back whenever I'm done there."
Oh, okay.
So we're just basically waiting
on
for him to come
hiatus
back.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
He's a very nice guy, and I'm in no particular rush, to be honest. Right? He's very honest with his prices, very nice.
Yeah.
So take your time. Really, all the brunt of the work is done.
You build yourself a dojo. You should build it out in the gazebo in the back or something for the summer.
And we're thinking about like putting a jacuzzi on the patio.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Just think about like you just finish rolling, just hop in the jacuzzi.
that would be nice.
Summertime, you have a barbecue as well.
Man, what I wouldn't give for like a shower after training, like that would like a shower. I've been to like one.
I've never been to a gym
I've
with a
been
shower.
to one that had like 3 or 4 showers. Like Island Top Team with Rob, he's big on like hygiene and showers.
Yeah.
So he's got like per like square foot ratio to showers. He's got like 4 showers or I think like 4. But he was big on that, and I was like, this is great. But yeah, like even the very nice big facilities, they don't have that.
I don't know. I feel like you're so close to home. You just drive home.
Yeah,
and shower,
yeah, that's true.
right.
I mean, we're not.
I have a personal thing about showering in public, so I'd rather shower at home, anyways.
Well, I mean, you're not in public. It's not like locker room style. It's like
But what if it is a locker room? I'm staring at your ding dong. You're staring at my ding dong.
nobody says you have to stare at anything.
I'd be staring. My eyes wander all the time.
That's a personal decision, Aiden. That's
But I mean, for here, like we're so close, so I'll just go home and shower.
that's true. I think, I think it is important to shower.
Oh, for sure. You don't want to be that dirty SOB who catches ringworm and washes their gi in the sun. No names will be named.
It's Brazil. We don't have the Brazilian sun here. Can't do it. Any final thoughts? Any shout outs you want to give out there?
No, man. I'm just glad that we're training together again.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're not doing anything big. I'm just happy we're together training. Really.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll have to get you out to visit Evan. Or maybe I'll see if I've been meaning to, one of the things I want to do, yourself included, is I want to pay like local black belts to come in and teach like a full seminar. Owen's been awesome about it. Like he let me do a fundraiser seminar here for Movember to raise money. But I think what we'll do is like we'll take club fees to pay you for. I don't know anything about this, but how the rates are. But I've reached out to some people. Like
that'd be a great idea.
Come in, teach a seminar. I think it'd be good for the guys here because I encourage them to go out to train at other places. But there's still largely a pandemic going on, so I get that people don't want to train elsewhere. But
not according to some of these black belts out there.
it's okay. Everybody's doing the best that they can.
Yeah, God will take care of them.
Only God can judge. All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, man, that was fun.
Good.